Welcome to another Pinche podcast.
What up? This is another episode of another Pinche podcast, and I got a guest today. I am the Bay, Brian. How's it going?
Good, man. What's going on? What's going on?
Not much. Been a while.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. It's been working. What about yourself?
Yeah, same thing. Working, hustling, trying to get this thing. Still doing all the lowrider stuff in the midst of everything.
Yeah. Good shit, man.
Um, so I've known Brian for a while. We met a long time ago doing car shows and stuff like that. And I'm bringing you on because you have a lot of in-depth photography experience, and
Yeah.
I mean, you so you're still doing now. You're doing it professionally, full time, right?
Yep. Full time. That's all I do.
Mhm. Mhm. And with your experience, tell us a little bit about your background with the cars and everything else like that. All this basically your background as a photographer.
So I'm coming from the east side of San Jose. So of course, the lowriding scene was always present. I mean, we were always going up down King and Story, cruising, doing the whole nine yards.
Mm,
And the photography kind of fell into it through a school elective. I remember in sixth grade, I was lucky enough to have an elective, and I chose photography as my elective. So I've been doing this kind of from sixth grade on.
yeah,
So it's not too bad, man. Not a bad gig.
yeah. And then getting into the car shows and everything like that. I mean, how was that for you for a while?
So I started actually doing security for the car shows, believe it or not, like the stage security.
Oh,
So I was doing that for a little bit. And a lot of people didn't know that I actually knew how to take photos. So kind
mm,
of I transitioned myself away from doing the security portion of it to taking
yeah,
photos. And then from there, it just kind of took off.
nice. The How many years were you? How many years was it? You're doing a lot of the car show stuff.
Damn, I was doing, whew, I don't even remember. I just remember like the first ones we were doing over the convention center.
Mm,
So that was maybe 98, 99 from there on,
mm.
maybe at that time. Yeah. I mean, I always went to them as a kid, but just, yeah, from when I started actually working the shows, probably about 98, 99.
Yeah. The So you transitioned from doing a lot of car shows. I mean, what was the transition for what do you do now? Like what you do now? No, I know you shoot a lot of what MMA
Yeah, I do a lot of MMA right now.
and
Uh, Go ahead.
oh yeah, the transition, like how did what happened with all that?
So it's weird, right? Because
Mm,
the scene is crazy. The scene, the lowrider scene behind the scenes is actually a little hectic. And from when I transitioned over from security to doing actually photos, I always stood on the stage. The whole model thing to me was a little weird because people were protective over models. Oh, that's my
mhm.
model. You can't shoot with there. And I was like, man, F this. That's not the way it works,
Yeah.
But not to stir feathers, even though I did here and there. I stayed with artists. So like the performers, I always shot the performers. And for me, it was kind of better because that's in a way how I gatewayed from doing the lowrider photography to doing a lot of the entertainment photography that I did, just out there networking. And that's how I transitioned over to doing a lot of the entertainment photography that I did.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like even with bringing up the models, it's like man, I mean, in it's some sorts, it's still that way. Some photographers, that's my, they get butthurt if you start shooting or a model starts working with a different photographer.
Yep.
Um, for myself, I find that it's a good thing that they work with multiple photographers because basically it brings them. Everybody's gonna look for the models on Instagram nowadays, especially with social media. They're bringing all the people looking, even if they use us to get to the models, what I mean? They'll look, oh wait, that's the, for me, Pinches Lowriders, he's taking pictures of that model. They find my Instagram faster than they find hers, maybe, if I'm, and then they go to the models and then they're following the models and
Oh
vice
yeah,
versa.
the minute you tag the model, whoop, they're going right over there. Like, oh, who's this? So it's like,
Yeah,
but this
exactly.
was all pre kind of like
Yeah,
social
this is
media, right? Don't get me wrong. You had the Facebook still there. You had the MySpace.
Yeah.
And then there was that famous, that I can't even remember the stupid name of the website for low riding, where they used to put all the event flyers and all that junk.
Oh, lay it low.
Lay it low. There you go. That's the one where you'd
Yeah.
see it, and that was about it. And then just I don't know how it became so overprotective with photographers and models that I was like, you know what, fuck it, I don't want this shit. I don't even want to argue with people over it. And I would tell the models, if you want me to shoot, cool, I have no problem, but I'm not gonna go chase, oh, come shoot with me, this and that. No. A lot of the times they ask me, no, I don't mind. I'll do it. But
Yeah.
I just wasn't chasing.
Yeah, exactly. So the entertainment, when you were shooting and doing stuff on the stage, how did that trends kind of also help you come to where you're at now?
So luckily for me, like when I used to shoot the stage, I used to bring like a little light kit. And that's what kind of separated me from everybody else doing the photography, right? Because I had a light kit. So I had my light kit on stage. So all my photos came out nice and crisp with like dope ass lighting. And everyone was like, what the fuck? So the minute I was done, I'd show the artist on the back of the camera and they're like, yo, I need that. I was like, all right, shoot me your contact information. Shoot me your information. And then from there, just networking. I shoot them the photos and they're like, hey, are you available to do this show? Hey, can you do this for me? Yeah, cool, no problem. And then, by the way, there is a charge. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And it was just word of mouth networking from there, man.
Nice. And the sports photography that you're doing and you're behind the scenes, is that something you're doing as a passion, or you started as doing, or did you get like into doing that, like getting paid for that, or is it just something that you're in now? That's because I know you do the UFC stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess
the
what
way
I'm asking is,
go ahead.
That's where your main content is coming from now.
Right. So I noticed when I started, there was a need for it. I mean, there was only a handful of photographers doing the type of work that I was doing at the time. So what I started doing is, of course, attending these little local shows. I already had kind of a portfolio with the low riding stuff, the entertainment stuff, and I was doing, of course, weddings and quinceañeras on the side. So my portfolio was already there. So I'd approach these small venues and be like, hey, man, if you give me a media pass, I'll shoot your event and I'll kick you down some photos, just for me to practice and get that experience in, right? And then from doing those shows, a lot of the fighters are like, yo, do you do side work? Can I hire you? Can we work somehow? And I was like, yeah, of course. So once I started perfecting the MMA lighting and the MMA scene, because it's different, right? All the environments are different, you need different equipment. Yeah, man, I just started having people fighters reaching out. And luckily for me, that, AKA gym was really down the street from my house. So I was always in the gym, when I was invited to go, taking photos of the fighters, just networking, meeting people. And eventually these people would become like family. So that's how I kind of gatewayed into that scene.
Definitely. Well, and I'll give you guys a little insight. At one point I almost got married and I had booked Brian was going to be my wedding photographer.
Yeah.
Doing weddings. It didn't work out, but you know what? But like I think every photographer has their favorite photographer, and your work has just been mind blowing throughout the years. Ever since the car and everything, I always have mad respect. It's like, and that's the thing. It's like I'm not sitting here like saying I want to, just because I like your photography, I was trying to duplicate your photography. A lot of photographers do that, and it's not always flattering. I don't think, like, you know what I mean? Like when you see people and they just start copying style, and I think that goes back to the models. Everybody, they want to use a specific model to be unique or stick out or hopefully make them famous, and stuff like that. The things that photographers like to say, and when shooting with certain people, even going into the sports sector of what you do with your photography now. Do you find any of that there, or is everybody pretty cool when it comes down like recommending you as a photographer?
Nah, everyone's pretty chill. Everyone's, pretty good about recommending me and vice versa. But the thing with the photography, right, is like you have to look for inspiration, right? So if you're looking at other people's work, like for example, I know you have that photo in the back of you that was probably kind of inspired by like Memo, right? So it's not wrong to get inspiration to kind of like duplicate in a sense, but you still have to give that homage and that those rights or that adapt to that person who did the original photo. And of course, you always got to look at other work for inspiration. I even do it,
Yeah.
I like the way certain people do certain things or just the setup and the lighting, and I'll try to mimic it to an extent. But then where your originality comes is how you put your twist on it at the end.
Absolutely. And I learned that, like, for me, I learned a lot of stuff by watching other people do stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's
Just
like,
watch it.
yeah, I even shot with the big umbrella light setup for a while because I saw that your lighting was just so freaking perfect. It's like, that is so easier. That is so much easier than doing a 2 light stand thing and everything else. Or now I shoot with usually 2 speed lights, all remote from one camera, and it's easier because nowadays you don't need the battery pack and everything else. But
and that was a trip. Like when I was doing it right, so my whole thing is shoot it right in camera, so you don't have to go back and edit. Little edits here and there, but shoot it right in camera. So I try to get everything right in the camera, so I can show the client in the back, like, hey, look, boom, and they're like, what the fuck? It looks spectacular as it is on the back of the camera, right? And it's on the little 2-inch monitor or whatever the case is for your camera. So when you put it into post, you really have to just light tweaks and you're good to go.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. I've learned that too. If I change anything, it's just usually the shadow and just a little bit. Is the least amount of editing as possible.
Exactly.
Is your goal, right?
True. Yeah.
So the dynamics. What have you with the UFC? Have you been traveling with that? Is it all local?
No, believe it or not, with the UFC, so I work directly with the fighter. So a fighter will contact me and say, hey, I have a fight camp coming up. Can you document it? And that's how I usually work. Luckily for me, I worked with Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, and those guys. So my access was kind of unlimited. So when we do get to the big show, like the UFC fights, it's pretty much whatever I need, whatever access I need, it's good to go. And I've been very fortunate on that end because, that access is not given to everybody, especially with the elite fighters. You just can't walk up to your elite fighter and be like, hey, let me shoot you. You're like, who the fuck is this guy? You kind of have to get that rapport in there beforehand. So luckily for me that it all kind of just worked out. And, I've been fortunate and blessed to work with the people that I have worked with.
Yeah. And the key word is building rapport. I think, I mean, I get a lot of people that always ask, like, how do you get the models? How do you do this? How do you do? And a lot of times, even press passes, it's how do you get in? And you do have to introduce yourself. You have to do, you have to build a rapport with the promoters, with the people that are going to be the ones that are going to have that say, whether you come in or hire you.
And the thing I noticed too right now, it's kind of crazy, man, I see all these like new photographers, right? Barely starting out. Oh, I want 250 a session. It's like, wait, what? That's not the way it works. You get it, cool. Yeah, someone's going to give it to you, cool. But the majority of the time, I mean, you have to do a lot of free work. At the beginning, I mean, I did a lot of free work, right? But that's how you build the rapport, and that's how you build your portfolio in a sense, right? You still have to pick and choose, right? Because there's still people out there trying to take advantage of you. Pick and choose. You do your frees. You do a lot of your collabs, and you're good,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the big thing. I think a lot of people understand. You have to build a portfolio, and sometimes you have to take the low-paying gigs, the free gigs.
Yes.
You got to do the family stuff, and you pull from that here and there, and because taking pictures of cars is not always going to get you other paid photography gigs. I mean,
it's not there. The money's not there per se, unless you get somebody who wants a special photo of their car and wants you to edit it and make a nice collage, and that's where you're going to make your bread and butter. Unless you're shooting for high-end magazines who still print, which is far and few in between, who actually have a budget to pay you. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. I think I found you have to be creative in how you deal with your photography or what it. Right now I'm starting to get into websites. I'm building websites. I'm getting paid to build websites. It's here and there, but I'm like, because I'm trying to turn this into something eventually marketing, more of a marketing business and everything else like that. Love the photography, love the video, YouTube, all the stuff that I'm doing now. But I'm also thinking okay, what's the next level? Am I going to get tired of running around the shows and going all over the place with the car shows and everything? And what am I going to do if I get sick of it? You know what I mean? Like, what's the next level?
Especially as you get older too, you're like, do I really want to do that? The good thing about getting older, right, is you can kind of pick and choose your assignments. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough, man. It really is. And especially as you get older, your body's not the same. You know, do you really want to be on your feet for 8 hours or 9 hours to go film a show to put on YouTube that doesn't generate what it did beforehand? You know?
Yeah, exactly. That they want attention. They hear you talking.
No, well, someone's in the driveway. I got my car, and then I had to pop open the the garage a little bit.
Oh, so when the last time I seen you, you bought a
I think
lens
you
off
sold me
me.
a lens. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
the Taquina lens.
yeah,
And you were telling me that you actually do photography as for a living now.
yeah. I've been fortunate, man. Well, that's my moneymaker.
Can you talk a little bit about that, like your actual job doing it?
So basically, what I do is man, I'm for hire. So I get a lot of people hire me for gigs. I do weddings, quinceañeras, of course, events, a lot of concerts, and you know, I've been fortunate where a lot of people just hit me up and hey, I need XYZ services,
Yeah,
where I can kind of be booked out for like 2 months. I plan out for like 2 months, and then from there, kind of fill in as I go. So
yeah.
I've been good on that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that was that's I guess that's the dream, you know. I mean, a lot of sometimes those things fall in and you work really hard to get there and be able to do that. I think.
So yeah, but luckily I've been fortunate to kind of be like booked out 2 months in advance. So then, you know, I kind of just fill in the gaps from there on. But yeah, it's full time, man. Luckily for me too, I travel. So if anybody needs something, you know, on the other side of the US, I can travel. So we're good.
And you've done well. I think in the beginning too. What you did any music videos and stuff like that too with video work?
I did behind the scenes photos for a lot of the music videos. I didn't really shoot video back then.
Mm,
That's a whole different beast in itself. I do it now.
yeah.
But yeah, beforehand I didn't.
And how much do you dabble in video nowadays, if
The
any?
majority of everything's video, believe it or not. You know, a lot of the content, like a lot of the social media stuff's all video now. So
Yeah.
that's the majority of my workload now. I still do a lot of photography, don't get me wrong, but yeah, everyone's kind of switching over to video because everyone wants to be visually, everyone wants to be entertained with a little clip.
Yeah.
And of course, you kind of see the patterns here and there with social media, like the Instagram video clips are like 90 seconds now. So believe it or not, that's the target time frame, 90-second videos.
Yeah, the reels. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, a lot of people said I need to do more reels, and I'm like, well, I'm a long format. I'm YouTube. And then it's pretty. There's some pretty cool stuff that they're doing, whether
Yeah.
it's they're actually editing it or it's all app stuff. The reality is like for me, I'm like, yeah, they can have that because I'm like, it's not that I'll do a little bit of stuff, but I'm actually like, I just stick with my format and I want to stay in my lane. Like I don't want to just keep jumping because that's what the new things are. But you do have to have some type of knowledge of it to stay at least relevant. It's like I'm
Yeah.
not going to turn all my material into that just because that's what's going on right now.
Right. So what I do is I do long format as well, but if they ask me for little, little clip or snips videos, I'll do it for them. But yeah, it's not my forte. Even on my
Yeah,
social media, I kind of trying to stay away from it. But I mean, that's what's in. That's a trending thing. That's what's gonna get you the views right now.
nice. And I see you have your own, your setup. Are you doing your own podcast or what you got going on?
I just kind of do it for fun, not really podcasting, just little videos or something like that, just to keep myself entertained and just to make sure that I can still keep up with my editing. Because that's how I practice, believe it or not, on myself. I'll make little videos, and
Mm.
just chop them up and see how I like them and just see how other people get their feedback on them. But yeah, the podcasting, I'm not too well at it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you this when last time I talked to you, but I bought all this stuff to podcast right before COVID.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and then COVID happened, so that so now it's like now I'm pushing myself to get consistent and put as much I can put out, and I just reinvented what I'm doing, and right now where the series I'm talking to photographers, content creators, and when I thought about it, I was like, you know what, I know you don't do a lot of the car show stuff anymore and stuff like that, but you still come from that genre, and
Yeah.
then you've evolved, and so I was like, man, I think that would be a great person such as yourself to talk about because people always want to know how do you go farther with what you're doing. What are your
Yeah, you just gotta master it. I mean, once you kind of get the whole understanding of your camera. So basically, like my camera, I know it front to back with my eyes closed, in and out. You have to master your camera before you can, uh, elevate to the next level, I think. But the transition is easy. I mean, like for example, I started with the stage photography. Cool. Once you nail that down, going to MMA is a total different beast because stage photography, you're not moving too much. It's mostly stills. There's not too much action. Then jumping to MMA where it's all action. It's a different genre of shooting per se to learn.
And so what are you shooting with right now?
Believe it or not, man, I still use my Canon 1DXs for photo stuff. I have like 3 or 4 of those Canon 1DXs. I have a Canon R5C, one of those new ones that came out. The one I'm filming on right now is a Canon C100 Mark II, and then I have the one right here behind me. That's a Canon C300 Mark II. So I've a few of them. It really depends on what it is.
Well, you see, they're coming out with the Canon R1.
Yeah.
That's going to be the full front mirrorless, huh?
They're flagships. Yeah.
And that I like I said, I was like, I remember you even told. Remember when you first got your was it XD1, right? The
1DX.
1DX. Sorry. And I just remember you're like, yeah, I saved a year for this.
Yeah, maybe a little more. I think when I first bought it, it was like $7,000 just for the body.
But those are the ultimate in sports. People shoot the Olympics and everything else like that with that camera.
At that time, that's what it was. I think I bought mine in 2015, 16, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, that's what it was. I mean, right now it's obsolete, but man, for what I need, it's perfect. I don't need anything of the new stuff for the photos. But the videos, of course, all these are video cameras, so you got to evolve with it.
Exactly. Yeah. The right now, my main video camera is the new Canon EOS R8, and it's
all right.
Small. It's a small form camera, but and then so I'm using that on a gimbal, and man, I used to do a lot of GoPro stuff, but once I started doing with the camera like that, I was like, nah, I like this way better.
Can't compare it.
Yeah, GoPros are easy, light, and quick and fast, but when you start kind of upgrading what you use to take pictures and video, it changes the way it looks, and then you just don't want to go back.
No, it's night and day, man. If you go from a GoPro to an actual DSLR camera to get video work, it's night and day. You can see the difference. Yeah.
So have you doing the photography that you do, have you met anybody like you never thought you'd meet before or anything like that?
Oh man, shoot, I've done work for Usher, Monica, Rico Love. Yeah. Who else? Local. I mean, I've done all the Bay Area rappers that you can think of. Luckily, to this day, I still do work with MC Magic. So yeah, I've been fortunate, man. As far as the music industry, MMA, shoot, I've met everybody in the MMA scene, so that's not an issue there. I've been fortunate, man. Gene Simmons. I've been fortunate, man.
Are you looking forward to that Mike Tyson fight?
I don't know. We'll see. I guess yesterday it was announced that he was hospitalized, or he had a little emergency on an airplane, man. So hopefully he can still make it to the fight.
Yeah, is this part of the plan?
Yeah, I got to meet Tyson. There you go. I forgot about him. Uncle Mike.
Oh, you met Mike Tyson?
Yeah. I got to do some work with him.
So, and part of this is that your willingness to travel and traveling around. Is that like a big part of the photography? I mean, your whole life you have to kind of drop what you're doing, get things done, go out and travel.
Unfortunately, yeah, man. If you wanna work with the big dogs, I mean, you have to be able to get up and go. Unfortunately, of course, when they come locally, it's not as big, but the majority of these people are in LA and Miami and other places. So you have to be willing to travel a bit.
Yeah. The Well, like I try, like everybody always like, you're everywhere, and I'm like, well, yeah, I have to be. Like
You have
if
to.
I want to remain relevant, I have to be everywhere. And there's been times when I fly in, nothing too crazy, but I'm like one day I'm in San Diego, the next day I'm in Stockton, and they're like, weren't you just in San Diego? I said, yeah, I flew back last night. Like I was there,
Yeah.
did my thing, got back on the plane, and came back home, drove to Stockton, you know,
Yep.
and
It'd be like,
yeah, it's like that. I think this year I was in Phoenix for a car show, and I literally yeah, Arizona, and I literally was out there the whole day, flew in the morning, did everything, slept for like an hour, and then I flew back.
damn. Yeah, same deal. Like 2 weeks ago, I did a graduation photo shoot in Maui. I was on Hawaii. I literally flew in the morning. I landed like 11:30, did my shoot and came back on the red at 10:30, and then the following morning I had a photo shoot here in San Jose. So yeah, it's like that, man. You got to be able
But
to move.
but to be honest, Hawaii is like your other second home.
I'm there a lot. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I see it, like almost every other time you post something that you're in Hawaii.
See, but that's the way, okay. Yes, I do travel to these places, but I try to knock out work at the same time. So while I'm in town,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm here. If anyone wants to shoot, let's do it. And I have a good, kind of clientele where they're like, cool, let's do it. I already have it kind of lined up where I can make some money while I'm away.
Nice. Are your kids interested in photography?
I try to get them into it. They both have cameras. One of my boys comes and helps me out every now and then. But I don't know. They're not driven to do it, And I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, man, this is legit money. You don't have to be out there doing stupid things on the street. You don't have to go over there and break your back. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's work, but manual
Yeah.
labor in a sense. And it's quick cash. I mean, it's really sky's the limit on how much you can make with the photography. It really depends on your hustle.
Yeah, absolutely. And even my son being 12, it's the same thing. I'm like, this is something you can learn. You don't necessarily have to make it your everyday thing, but
Yeah,
you can still make money. And it translates into a lot of things.
it's legit clean money.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a legitimate hustle. It's not always easy. It's not always, big payout, but it could turn into more than that. And then my thing is like he likes video games, so I say you can learn how to do design, you can learn how to do
Graphic design.
directing.
Yeah.
You know,
Not only that, but like, hey, man, you got to come work this video game money off, or else you're not getting, what you need. That's how I got
exactly.
my boys going. Oh, you want that skin, or you want that whatever the hell you're gonna buy online? Come earn it.
I know, because that's what like that's all he wants for like his the birthdays and Christmas is I want stuff for my Xbox. I want V-Bucks for Fortnite.
$bucks, yeah. Come earn them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hot. It's like I tell it's hot out there. You're running around in the heat. I was in Bakersfield a couple weeks ago, and I still haven't gotten used to the heat yet. It takes a couple times, and then you're just like, okay, it's no big deal again.
Yeah.
But it's like running around with the camera, having to try to get everything done at a certain time before you get overheated, and you can't do it no more.
And then the asphalt's so hot, just reflecting back into your face, and the sun's out. Nah, I'm good.
Oh, did you ever go to some of the Res Made when they were in Lemoore?
No, but I did the one in Vegas. That one was hot.
There was there was a couple times I did a couple of shows and it was like 100 degrees on blacktop.
Nope.
I did. It was so hot that even some of the people, they had those industrial sized fans where they had their tents and canopies.
Yeah.
On a generator. That's how hot it was.
Yeah, no, it's hot, man. Be out there in your shoes are mountain.
That's exactly what I was gonna say right now. It's like you're trying to take pictures of cars and there's models trying to model and and it's so hot and you're like, oh, this is not gonna work. This is just nuts.
I don't know if you remember, but remember one time we were in Woodland, and then we were all sitting on the canopy, and someone took a photo of us. And remember that dude that used to like make those little funny photos and captions.
It was
that
the
dude.
homie.
And we were over there fucking dying in the sweat and the heat, and he was over there making those stupid little.
The cartoon everybody's saying stuff on all of us he like labeled everything over everybody, and it was so
Yeah,
hot that all of us were under that canopy, like literally there was like 20,
just
30
like this.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, just hurting. Yeah,
Yep.
those are them days, man. But that's the work we put in to do, to try to get, our craft and to get, somewhere with our what we do.
Yeah.
I did a wedding, the last wedding I did video with, it was on a golf course, and it was pretty hot. It got hot real fast, where like a lot of people started just standing in the shade because it was like right in the middle. And then people just like, nope, I'm gonna stand over here under these trees.
Yeah, I'm
But
good. I'll be over here. Yep. And you
yeah,
can't tell it to the bride and groom, hey, yeah, you guys get married over there. I'll be here shooting from over here. Nah, it's not
nope,
gonna fly.
right.
You gotta be all in the mix. You gotta be right there with them.
Yep, you're not in shorts, or you're dressed, properly for a wedding, and it's not fun.
Nah, man, a long sleeve shirt, them slacks, slip and slides, no good.
Yep, exactly. So any tips for the new person that's trying to become a photographer, in the car scene and in anything in general?
Believe it or not, man, when anybody asks me, I always say, learn your camera. Learn your camera. I used to take it with me everywhere just to learn it back in front,
Mm,
like the back of my head. And then if you have any questions, I mean, man, YouTube University is such a great tool. Anything and everything that you want to learn about a camera or how, certain things are done is on there. So there should be no reason now why the resources to get to where you want to um, be so difficult to obtain. Because I remember beforehand, shit, I was going to the library looking at photo books, the photography books, the big old square ones, learning
yeah.
on, do certain things. What is ISO? Because when I learned, I mean, I was still shooting film. I was on film.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I was still on film until about maybe 2010 because the cameras were so expensive back then. So everything was still film. So yeah, man, just YouTube University. If you have any questions, there it is, and learn your manual.
Yeah, definitely. You shoot full manual on your camera?
Oh yeah. It's the only way.
Uh, Autofocus though, or no?
So yeah, it depends, right? With the MMA stuff, if you're shooting through a cage, sometimes it's manual.
Mhm.
But if there's nothing in front of you, yeah, auto. I don't mind shooting automatic. Automatic focus, but everything else is manual.
On the So if people don't know that, obviously what's going to happen is if you shoot auto in a cage, it's going to pull up the actual cage. It's going to start like focusing on other things, right?
Yeah, you're gonna pull focus on the cage instead of the subject behind the background.
And what's the most interesting, situation you've had when shooting like that through the cage, in an actual fight?
Oh man, interesting. I mean, just some of the knockouts. Fuck, they're so brutal, man. And then if you do like a burst mode, you kind of just get the whole action of the knockout. And they're like, then you get the blood splatter and the spit and saliva and the sweat. Yeah, there's nothing like it, man. It's crazy.
You're like, oh wow, it's like it's better than a TikTok video, almost,
Yeah. If you really look at it,
yeah.
it's crazy.
The one thing you haven't done photography wise that you want to do?
Ooh, one thing I haven't done photography wise that I want to do, and you're putting me on the spot right now. Um, Damn, I don't even know. Maybe a magazine cover, but like on a big platform. Now I've done smaller stuff, but maybe something big on a big
Yeah,
platform.
nice. The
Damn.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
see, I got you thinking again.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I've done a lot. I've been fortunate to have done a
Yeah.
lot, but to like staple, yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people brag about awards and I won this and I won that, but yeah, I'm good off those. A lot of them are pay to play, so I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, for myself, I've said this. I said this for a few years now. I want to do a miniature movie, like a 10-minute movie.
Yeah.
I want to do it. Yeah, I want to do a 10-minute movie, and I want to submit it to the one of the film festivals.
Yep. Well, right now is the best time. All these cameras and all the technology that's out there. It's beforehand. This was something that you couldn't really obtain because of the equipment now,
Yeah,
right? But look at the cameras. I mean, that R8 that you have. I mean, you can damn near shoot the whole movie on that. And you're good.
yeah, I could shoot 4K in that thing and everything else.
You know, put some color LUTs behind it, and you're good, man. Before it was
Yeah,
unobtainable. Now it's really on your drive.
exactly. The networking and stuff. For me, it's like that's the goal, and I'm like, so I have to settle down in what I'm doing because I'm running around like crazy, doing all these car shows still.
Yeah,
And but it's like I keep telling myself if I'm gonna do that movie, I'm gonna have to stop doing something else just for the time being to get it done. You
yeah.
know,
You're gonna have to
and it's
find a little break in your time. Just dedicate your time to that. Knock it out, and you're good.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's the hardest part to get myself like every time I'm
Yeah,
like right now I'm going a little harder than usual and I'm trying to get like every event I can and it's a lot.
it's summertime. It's time to make your money. You know how everything is. So, comes in season. So if you're not hustling right now to get that money up, come wintertime, you're dead in the water. There's nothing really going on.
Yeah, exactly. I think that yeah, with the car show season right now, there was a ton of car shows in March and in April, and then right now it's like a dead zone. Like nothing's gonna pick up until the end of June. Like really like bigger events. So it's like it's quiet right now. So it's giving me time to focus on this podcast, but
Yeah.
it's still work because um
You got graffiti nights coming up in Modesto, I think next week in 2 weeks.
yeah
Yeah.
the yeah and I think um yeah, the graffiti nights. There's a couple of small San Jose events. There's one actually this Sunday, and uh then the weekend after that, I'm not sure. Oh, there's one in Stockton, and then after that, there's a Father's Day one in Gilroy on the 15th, the Saturday
Oh,
at
okay.
the park. There's gonna be there's a
Christmas
pretty
tree
good
party.
event. Yeah, yeah.
Man, there's
So
there's
yeah,
hella cars, Roy. There's some nice cars out here.
I know. I didn't even know. I seen some of my homeboys, and he's like, I live out here now. And I'm like, really?
Yeah,
He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, like I work in Gilroy, so it's like,
you see them
but
from time to time.
yeah, I've ran into a bunch of people that kind of moved out that way. So, so they're definitely car. I'm just waiting for them to start doing the cruising again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
have you thought about going back to shooting cars too, or just it's just
I mean, I'll do it. Like right now, I'm in the talks with a high end company to do some lifestyles for their vehicles.
Mhm.
So it all depends on how they look at the contract. If we're good with it, so within the budget, we're good. But as far as the low riding stuff, yeah, I don't mind doing it. It's cool. But that's more of a hobby, right? Because the money's
yeah.
not there unless it tells me, hey, this is what I specifically want you for to shoot this project, and it happens to be a lowrider car. That's the only way you're gonna make money. So yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I'm open to it.
Yeah, I'm waiting on a possible opportunity, and it's a networking with somebody else I work with, and it's an actual model, and I can't say anything too much about it because it's there's what do you call it, MDAs now or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
but it's just high end vehicles has to do it. That's all I can say.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's where the money is. I don't know why or what. These lowrider cars, man. Shit, they're just as high in price and value that some of these other cars, but it's not the same attention.
I think the I was talking to somebody else about it, and it's the art because it's like when you shoot lowriders, you're taking pictures of art.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're taking pictures, we're taking photos of art. So it's not just like a finely crafted, Ferrari. It's a Lamborghini, all that stuff. Beautiful cars. Grew up just in love with my dream car, Lamborghini. But low riding in itself is moving art.
it
And when
is.
you photograph it and video it, you're showcasing art. more
Yeah.
than just craftsmanship, because it is craftsmanship. It is a lot of hard work to build, restore these cars and everything else like that. But I think it's just like they're more community, to everybody, and then dealing with getting in there with high end stuff. Well, their people are a little more careful of how they deal with people, I guess.
Yeah. Have you gone to that Lowrider museum in LA? The one that just opened up a
No,
few weeks back?
no, not yet. I haven't gone out there yet. It's funny because I look at it. One of the cars that I've never seen that's there is I've never seen Gypsy Rose in person.
I've never seen it in person either. That's one of the most famous cars in the world, the most iconic car, and I've never seen it in person.
Yeah. So they had brought it out. They were gonna do the Elysian Park for Cinco de Mayo, but that got all messed up. But they took the car out there because they were trying to promote the museum.
Museum.
And it got shut down, so they really didn't get to. They put it out to display. They had it on a truck, a covered flatbed, and but yeah, I was almost gonna go out there mainly because of that, but then it didn't happen. I didn't go, and then they had a bunch of problems with it because there was the Dodger game, and then right there where they cruise, it's right there where you get into the Dodger Stadium, so they
So
didn't
I
want
was
to
just,
have the traffic, so they shut it
yeah,
down.
yeah.
So
Hopefully I get to get out there, man. There's a lot of beautiful cars in there.
oh yeah, and so yeah, I think that's one of the main cars I've never seen. Most of those cars I've taken photos of, that are in there, and I'm sure there's some other ones that they haven't shown that are in the museum, that are in the museum. And but to see the display and the way they have it set up, I think I might just have to just go out there on one of my days off and just go enjoy it.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
cap.
Take your boy and go.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I just want to like, if I'm gonna go to that, I'm not taking a camera. I'm just gonna go enjoy it.
What is one of your most memorable moments taking photos of vehicles, or what is your favorite car?
For me, um, man. So I always liked, and I'm waiting for it to come out because supposedly they're going to bring it back out. But so you remember the Redisaurus? It was a '61 Monster Hopper. The '61
Yes.
Impala was red. So supposedly it's getting redone, and that would be something I would want to take pictures of
Was that the one
if
with
I
the white belly?
it was like all red, and it had the permanently locked up back end, or I don't know if it came down, but it was like it stayed up in the air, and but they could bring it down to hop it, and it was kind of before they did the Joker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so supposedly they're trying to redo that, or I don't even know if it still exists, but I saw some stuff because I know they have the original Joker, and then they have another Joker that has a platform, and I've seen that in person because it has a special frame that makes it raise up in the air like it's in midair, and
Yeah.
then some people thought it was like a copycat, but what it is, it's actually, from what I understand, it was like family, and it's like legitimately just like
I
a
remember.
second, like it's a display car,
Yeah.
but they still have the original Joker. So I
Man,
think those cars,
go ahead.
no, those cars were before my time, but they would be something that like to
You'd
me
want,
would be like an honor to like take pictures of.
bro. You know what's crazy that I started seeing a lot on Facebook, just scrolling through, is like when you see some of those old school cars, like the before and after photos of where they're at now, and they're in these junkyards, man, just
Mhm.
mangled, and you're like, oh my lord, what the hell is this car doing there? You know, what happened in life that this car is where it's at now? It's like, damn.
So on the other coin of that, I see that all the time, and I see people showing the before and after. But I was just talking to somebody in Bakersfield, and the mini truck scene is pretty big again.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, it's cracking up again. Yeah,
come to find out, when they started busting out these mini trucks again, a lot of these people had these trucks the whole time.
put away.
They
Yeah,
sat in the garage, and all they're doing is just cleaning them up and
we're good to
fixing everything,
go, man.
and then they're bringing them back out. These trucks were already built from back then.
Yeah, my first lowrider was a little mini truck. Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. It's like they kept their trucks, they kept their toys, they put them away,
Yeah.
or they passed them down. But I think, yeah, if I really look at some of the people that have the mini trucks, a lot of them, yeah. I know there was a, what is it, the Suzuki Sidekick?
The
There was a
sidekicks,
blue
those
one.
were nice.
There's I think, is it a Sidekick? I'm not sure what, but it's a blue one, and he has hydraulics, and he three wheels it and everything. But on his license plate, uh, hope the DMV ain't listening, but it still says like 89 on the tag.
Yeah, that's it. They just ride it for a little bit and right back into the garage.
Yep. And then, so yeah, I don't think I'm sure he has it registered or whatever, but he never put it on it because it sat there for so long.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And it has
there's
four
cars
pumps.
in there. Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, you'll see cars and people will be like, this is an original car, original paint job. There's a couple cars that are in the show circuit that their paint jobs, 20, 30 years old, and they haven't touched them. They just,
that just goes to show that the craftsmanship beforehand on the old cars, fucking excellent, man. The craftsmanship is really different.
That and then them being babied, of course they kept it, they've kept it up, because look at, there was a 90, what is it, a 95, it was a Chevy 454, the pickup truck, and the guy that bought it, the guy that bought it, he bought it and put it away, like literally knowing he put it away with, he had, I seen a couple cars where these guys just buy these cars, they don't even take off the factory, coverings just or whatever, and they put it in a garage, and they put it in a air conditioned freaking storage, and the car comes out and looks like it's brand new the day they bought it, and it's worth a ridiculous amount of money.
Gabriel Iglesias, I think he just announced maybe a couple months back that he bought like a 94 Mustang GT, a red one with like some tan interior with like 24 miles on it. Jeez. It was one of those somebody just had put away. 24 miles. Imagine that. Original tires, original everything.
Mm-hmm. And the investment. So like when the pandemic happened, people were either getting, laid off, or they decided to retire early, and they were pulling all their money and they were going and buying these cars. And I was telling somebody that people were spending 100, 200K on Impalas and all these other cars. And I think where now, and honestly, this is where I feel like society is really going, oh, they're spending this kind of money on these lowriders, and they're starting to realize to take people that collect lowriding seriously. Now lowriding is considered the number one car culture. It used to be hot rods and muscle cars and stuff like that, but it's taken over. It's taken over. Now it's the most popular
by all ethnicities as well. That's the good thing about it. That's the beauty of it, right? That's how it brings everyone together. You can be black, white, purple, Asian, and you can appreciate the lowrider for what it is. Yeah, just like beforehand, like before COVID, the prices were not too bad. I remember I bought my first 65. I bought it for $4,000 with a 383, nice motor. It was painted, ready to go, $4,000. And then I bought a donor car for like $400. Took the parts I needed it. Then I sold it to some other dude in San Jose. Now I've been looking at some cars, and fuck, the prices are outrageous.
Oh yeah, I mean, original convertible.
Like you said, COVID, man. During COVID, I think COVID was a double-edged sword, right? Either you made money or you lost a shitload of money. There was nowhere in between. There was ways to make money. So yeah, I just remember before COVID, I was looking for a drop, and there were about 24 $24,000. And then right, during COVID, shit, you couldn't touch anything for like 45, 60 grand for pieces of shit. I'm like, damn. The prices are starting to come down now a little bit, because of the little recession we're in, but it's still not attainable for a lot of people. You buy a project, you're buying a shell and, something with no motor, no tranny for $4 or $5,000. You still got to put another 30, 40 into it.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and everybody thinks they're gonna do the work themselves, and then that's when you have a car that sits in your driveway for 10 years.
Yeah, you can only do so much. You got to be very handy, you know. If not, you can only do so much.
Exactly, and it's the aftercar market. It's changed a lot too, and I think there's the big controversy: do you build it or do you buy it? It was like, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's an investment. Like right now, I was talking to a friend. I'm like, I'm almost tempted. Like, I don't want to go buy $100,000 truck. Like, I want to like, I think in the next year or so, I might get another car. But I'm like, am I gonna buy a Silverado? No. And I'm like, shit, for that kind of money, I might as well just go buy a damn C10 and go put a crate engine in it
Do what
and
you
have a
want. Yeah,
reliable old school truck. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
yeah. What is your thoughts on a lot of these lowrider cars that go up in Japan?
For me, you know what? They have the money and they take care
Oh,
of them.
stupid amount of money. I don't know how or what, but I remember even before when I was in the scene, like 90, 98, and so
Yep.
you saw a lot of like the OG cars.
Mm.
These dudes would come out here and offer them like, "Hey, I'll give you XYZ." Send it to Japan. They're like, "Yeah, fuck."
Well, yeah,
I
there
remember
was so
built just to
96
sell the
or
car
so.
to Japan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was there was a shop out of Stockton, and they were buying cars from people out
Yep.
here, and then they were just shipping them right out to Japan. So they were buying them for whatever market was here, marked them up to them, and
Selling
they
them.
were selling them out. Yep. And so it was. I remember because and one of the reasons why I found that out was one day somebody pulled up and it was like a '61 Impala, and I'm like, "That's a badass car, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah." He's
It's going to
all,
Japan.
I'm just I'm taking out to I'm just taking it out for a cruise, and it's going out to Japan this week. I sold it. And I
Yeah.
was like, what? And then that's kind of like how like I learned about like the other shops that were buying up the cars and stuff like that. And they were just making money. And the thing is that they take care of the cars. They're not
No, they do.
and so there's some cars that were iconic lowrider cars from LA and late 70s, early 80s, and they got bought up out there, but those cars look exactly the same.
Exactly the same pristine condition, but just in Japan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, for me, I think it's great because I've talked to people that have like bought like pictures from me and stuff like that from Australia. I've met some people from Germany, a
Nice.
lot of Germany cats. I met somebody from Germany on New Year's this year. I've been to the Vegas Super Show, and people have come up to me that watch my videos, and they're from Germany. There's different countries and stuff like that. I even on some of the lives when I was doing lives a lot before the war, the Ukraine war, I was getting a lot of people chiming in it from Russia.
Damn.
So
That's
they were
crazy.
using, yeah. So it's pretty interesting because it's like the reach that people have through low riding is pretty amazing, and it's not just a bunch of like, you know, um, I want to say, I don't want to say that. I want to say this nicely. It's not a bunch of arrogant people with their high end cars. It's like real people that like
Cool.
dream
Appreciate it.
of low
Yeah.
riding.
You heard for him.
Exactly. And then and a lot of times they're just thanking me just because they don't get to see these cars like in where
No,
they're from.
they're far and few in between.
Mhm.
I'm curious to know how much these cars are going for now in Japan because I remember back then. I mean, you look at a car and be like, "That's no way. There's no way in hell that's $100,000 car," but that's what it was selling for to go to Japan. So if
Yeah.
that was back then, 98, 99, what are these dudes paying for these cars now?
About the same, I think. Um
Maybe even more
I
because here
did
in
see
Cali,
someone. I
look
know
at some.
somebody that,
If you
yeah.
go ahead,
No,
if you look at
it
some
depends on
cars, sorry, go ahead. I'll let you go.
uh, okay. It depends on the year and the make. It has to be usually right now the highest end cars are original convertibles.
Yeah, and you see those here like going for 210, right? Just here in the States.
Yeah.
One let's be fair. On the low end 75, I've seen all the way to 250, I think. This is the highest I've seen like on Kelly Broker for one of the convertibles. That's here in the States. Now imagine what you're paying to export it to Japan though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that they putting it at that cost because I think that that's what they want. That I think
Oh,
that
of
they want
course, that's what they want.
the foreign market to reach it to grab it because I don't think too many people are grabbing them for that price here locally in the state. I don't think so.
I think
I don't see too many people changing hands with cars. All those big number cars are going out of the country.
I think I only know one person who's paid like 110.
Well, I do know somebody just got like I seen them and I'm like, what happened to your car? And it was a numbers matching 63. And I don't want to put all his numbers out there, but he basically said he had it for 5 years. Somebody offered him a price and he was like basically like, wow.
Take take it.
Uh okay.
Cash me out.
He
Take
didn't
it.
expect yeah, he took it and then they gave him like, like another 5 grand just to deliver it.
There you go. Take it. Money
But it was
talks.
a numbers matching car. So, that's top dollar all day, especially in show condition,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And then some people that don't understand what a numbers matching car means. It means it's the serial numbers that it got stamped on it when it came off the assembly line originally.
Motor, tranny,
Engine,
everything.
frame, and chassis, all that stuff.
Yep. Damn. Some money, brother. Money in these cars.
Yeah, as we're saying, yeah, there's a lot of money out there in the car scene, lowrider scene, and everything else like that. And I think at the end of the day, um, you know, for me, I don't know. When I do my stuff, my photography, and my content, I want to give it to everybody.
Yeah.
Where my hopes are is that it becomes, I think I've said before, my goal is to get sponsors, to get people pay for advertisement, and that just what it does is it feeds it. It becomes perpetual, and I can continue to do it and bring this kind of content to people across the board. I'm not interested in being rich. Everybody wants to be rich, and I wouldn't mind, but at the same time, I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
I just want this content to be out there for people and continue to create a positive venue. Well, so like I was saying, my goal here is to have a positive platform and
Yeah.
to inspire people to do what to look at it, either to choose to do it or not, and have a better understanding of what goes into this, because it's not easy, it's not simple, and just because you have a camera doesn't mean it all translate to being famous or making a lot of money. But the potential is there, and you've proven that, because with your work, that's your main
Source of income. But
yeah.
now, don't get me wrong. I'm not rich by any means. It pays my bills. Yeah, yeah, of course. But like you said, this is just to attest or a testament to the younger cats that you don't have to be doing illegal shit to generate money. This is
Exactly.
legit. You don't have to go down a different path in life. If you really apply yourself to something and put in the time and dedication, yeah, all right. You don't have to go be a D-boy. You don't have to go run licks on people. Just make your money legit and you're good. Let me ask you a question before we get off, right? Just so people kind of understand the scope of things. And it might be personal, but let me go ahead and ask. Or just give me kind of a general frame, right, to kind of go off. How much money do you generate a month on your YouTube channel?
On average.
Think about that. Just think about it real quick.
Yeah.
And my follow-up question is, how much money does it cost you to operate?
Exactly. I mean, if I want to go into
sponsorships, that's why you look for the ad revenue. That's why you do what you do. That's why you charge people what you charge. It looks good up front, right? But just kind of put things in perspective. That mic right there, how much that might cost you?
I bought 4 of them at one time, but yeah, a lot. $100 a mic.
There you go. Your camera, whatever money you put into your education and learning, if you did do any schooling, it adds up. So that's why, yes, you can have 100,000 followers on your YouTube or whatever it is, but what you generate doesn't equate to what you're putting out. A lot of times you're coming out of pocket for some of these things that you're doing, so you're kind of just paying yourself back or partially paying yourself back.
Yeah, what I tell people, I'm investing in myself, because if I
There
do
you go.
put in, if I do pay for my flight, I book my hotel and everything like that. The expectation is that the footage that I get will do bring up my revenue from my YouTube, and then it will pay
To
for
pay you back.
itself to
Yep.
pay me
Now,
back.
now I know. I think it was you who had posted something a while back where there was this huge discussion about. I think it was in a car. I think it was a car show event trying to charge photographers for media passes.
Yeah,
Did
that's
we
why
talk
I have
about
my
that?
media pass. Yeah, my media pass thing here.
Bro, that's the
So
worst thing these people can do. The worst things. Don't get me wrong. You have to vet. You right. You still have to vet your media past people who are applying for them. Right. You still have to vet because
exactly.
a lot of people are bullshit. Right. But the people who are there legitimately doing a job, it gives you the exposure for your venue. Like, oh shit, look at all the people that are here.
Mhm.
So it's hand in hand. You can't
Well, the old school
charge.
tactic. The back in
Yeah.
the day before social media, they wouldn't let people walk in with a professionally looking camera, because let's just say, and let's just be real, it was Lowrider magazine. They wouldn't let you walk in with a camera,
No.
film camera, anything with attachable lens. They're like, no, you can't come in with it. And the reason why is because they controlled their outlet for their media, the magazine, their videos that you bought at Walmart or from their website, the
Was all
VHS ones.
directly through. Was all directly through him.
Directly through them. But see, it's not like that anymore. And
Mm-mm.
that's the catch. And that's where media outlets like myself and many other people are the ones that promote these
Bring the
events.
people. Yeah. Do
But
you
but
remember back? Do you remember back in the day they used to have this booth, right? Where they used to have a model and they used to have like a motorcycle car. And
yeah,
people would pay money to take photos with the models. They did little Polaroids. People would
yeah,
pay. And that was your proof. Hey, I was at the car show with this model. You know, that's what it was.
oh yeah, they'd line up to do that, and they'd have the little backdrop and the model. And actually, I think from I interviewed Daza a while back, a couple years ago, and that's where she stopped walking around the car shows. She just was in one booth, and people came to her. They lined up to take pictures with her.
You know
She
who
didn't
else was
walk
like
around the
that
car
too?
shows.
Believe it or not, in recent times, I remember Base was like that. Do you remember Base?
Yeah, she started doing that stuff.
Yeah, she would have actually line of people. Just she wouldn't even walk around, or she'd do her little stroll, then go back to where she was, and people would line up. Boom, 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 boom. But
And people
that's
don't realize that's one of the reasons why we walk around with the models, because we're just, if we book the model to say hang out at our booth, we'd walk them around, take pictures, and then make sure everybody knew she was there. And then, oh, she'll be at the booth for an hour. She'll be at the booth for 2 hours. Go
yeah,
check out,
selling
give them merch,
merch, taking photos, and
all that
whatever you
stuff.
got going on.
So when it comes down to the media pass, and I'll use this as a good example. So let's just put it this way. Let's say we have a car show, and you have an MMA fighter.
Yeah,
You have a fighter, and he says, "Oh, there's a lowrider show. I want to take pictures of lowriders. I want to do something promotion. Maybe I want to be the next, like I want that to be my stick, my thing. I want to, show up in a lowrider or something." And you just show up there with him and start taking all these pictures. And then the thing is what they're talking about is they don't want, if you're going to do commercial photography, you have to have a pass. Basically, you're gonna start doing a whole photo shoot with a production, and you're not gonna pay. Basically, you pay the ticket to get in, or you just like you're just, So I think that in a sense that's what they're trying to avoid, because some people will come in there and try to bring in all their lights and everything else, and it causes it just causes like more headache trying to walk around that and all that stuff like that. So like
yeah,
they figure if you're gonna do a big old commercial shoot, you're not gonna do it for free.
right. I mean, I can see it, right? My only concern would be the insurance, right? Because you're setting up lights, you're doing this.
Yeah,
If one of your lights falls on the car, who's covering it? Who's liable now?
photographer. Especially if they didn't have a press pass.
Yeah,
I think like at the end of the day, if you had a press pass, in a sense, not only is the photographer, but then the venue usually has insurance for stuff like that too. So it could fall on a little bit of both, but ultimately they're just trying to keep people that have nothing to do with the lowrider scene out of there and taking up space, trying to, you know, do all this photography stuff that has nothing to do with what, you know, they're not going to give back to the community.
Yeah.
But you know, it is a thing because a lot of times, like I said, a lot of people are not in the loop and maybe they choose not to be, but they don't know. Always ask, like ask another photographer. If you know I go to a certain show all the time and you go to request a press pass and they tell you it's going to be a fee of $250, then you know what? Before you get all mad about it, why don't you talk to another photographer and maybe they can, you know, help you out if they, you know, like, okay, maybe I can get you in with, you know, I'll talk to the promoter and see, you know,
Yeah.
or, you know, how do I go around this? The way around it is once again through the actual promoter of the show. And a lot of that is networking. Like,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee, and you don't get mad if they can't get you in. Don't get butthurt if someone you know. Just understand that that starts a process of communication that goes beyond just filling out the form on the website. That it's just that's automatic. They're going to ask you for, you know, the fee.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm not paying.
yeah, exactly, and
I'm,
neither am I. I mean, I said this in a different podcast. I was using my gimbal, my camera, and someone walked up to me and they let you in with that. And I just looked at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm like, they actually they invited me to be here. So it's like,
I just put it in
I
my
mean,
back
I don't
pocket and
want
walk through. See all
but
the, but here's the thing too. Like, I feel that if they give you media pass, right? They give you a media credential.
yeah,
I always give them off something in return. So I always,
exactly.
shoot them some images, the best stuff. Hey, here you go. Use it for whatever the hell you want. Right. So it's give and take. It's give and take.
Oh yeah, you do you know, help them out with some promo footage for the next year's event and so on and so forth. Offer to push their flyer, you know, just but you got to really do it, because
Yeah.
if you say you're going to do it and you don't, they're not gonna
Remember.
give you a press pass next
Remember.
year.
They remember.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've even
They re-
had someone. I mean, one time someone's like, "Well, we didn't see this or we didn't get this." I said, "Well, I emailed you, you know, and da da da, but I put everything out there." And then they saw and they talked to whoever they had talked to and go, "Okay, we got you." You know,
yeah.
because maybe that one person just not into social media, but they're part of the business aspect of it. So you just, like I said, you just have to talk to people. You know, sometimes you're invited, sometimes you have to ask to be invited, but it's okay. You know, I've been invited to events I can't even get to because, you know, they're like, "How do I get you here?" And I'm like, "Okay, so here's the deal." You know, it's like I've
Plane and
gotten
hotel.
invited. What was that?
Plane and hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, you got to fly me and then, you know, give me a room. And then it's like, okay. And it's hard. And I know it's hard because some events are local events and they want me there. And then but they're not like next to a major airport, let's just say. So then
Yeah.
it's like, I can fly in here, but then who's going to drive me 2 hours to where you're at?
Yeah.
Are you going to rent me the car or am I going to rent the car? I mean, what are we going to, is there going to be a difference involved depending on the situation? You know, and sometimes, okay, I will rent the car, but they're paying for the hotel and the flight. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
You're helping them out as well, coming out of pocket just on the car. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
You know, so that's the whole thing. They'll be like, "Oh, we'll get," you know, and I've had people pick me up, and then it's like an hour ride to where the event's going to be at. That's not a problem because they're providing they came to get me, all that stuff. The hotel. You know, I went to Atlanta and in October, and it was my first time out there, and they covered the room, the hotel, and they picked me up, you know, and everything was good. Like I was like, you know, that was nice. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a lot.
Yeah.
Do
It's
we get paid
basics.
outright for it? Most time, no.
Nah. But like you said, you're gonna make your money on the back end, hopefully with the YouTube videos, the sponsorship stuff, whatever merch you do sell, if you have any at that time, So you're just recouping. That's basically what it is. Honestly, you're recouping.
Yeah. And that's where it comes down to investing in myself. You know, when you
Yeah.
do this in the beginning, you are investing in yourself. Even when I was doing a lot of quinceañeras and weddings, all that money that I made turned right back into a new camera, new this, new that, you know, tools to even do more and better, stuff that I needed to do to be
Yeah,
more
exactly.
professional. There were certain things where I wanted this. So, because if I'm going to be doing a wedding, I want to look more professional. I want to have more professional equipment. It's not the DIY stuff and everything else like that. I got to come in, and I'm going to come in making sure that that anybody at that wedding could see me do it and go, I'm going to hire that guy.
Exactly. And then they're like, "Hey, where's your business card? Let me give you give me your business card because I got something coming up." That's the best
Exactly.
feeling. You're like, "Oh, boom!" Where you have to go up there and tell them, "Oh, here's my business card." They come and ask you. And you're like,
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And that's why a lot of people, I give out free stickers now for the website, obviously for me, because it's like, people, do you have a business card? I said, no, here's a sticker.
"There
And
you
the
go."
sticker does way better because I've found my business cards on the floor. I've told
I've
people
seen,
before, so you really want to put your name out there, make a sticker.
yeah, I've seen it before. Business cards on the floor, or they leave them on the table, and that's that.
Yeah. And another one is, well, for me, like I said, doing the wedding and stuff like that, I'm not really. I wanted to do that. I was gonna redo a whole website, restart all that stuff before COVID. COVID happened. Now it's only when it comes, someone actually asked me, do you do weddings or
Yeah,
quinceañeras? Yeah, you know,
same deal. I'm the same way. It's word of mouth. I'll do small, like little intimate quinceañeras and weddings, but besides that, I don't like the big productions. I like them like small and intimate where I can do it myself, and then I'll have to hire somebody to help me.
yeah.
A lot of people are unreliable, man, and I just don't like that feeling. I don't like to rely on somebody else or run into a situation. So small and intimate, and I'm good.
Yeah, and I remember, was it a couple times back in the day, we talked, someone would ask me something, and I'm like, well, I don't know if you have, but I'm going to refer you to a couple people that they're going to give you a call about a wedding or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And then you guys work it out. That's what I do too. Same
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes, yeah, there's people booked on the same day or whatever. I mean, I remember one year, I think I had about 5 different inquiries for the exact same date. And I was like, I'm already booked. And then I took one early in the year, and then next thing you know, I was like nonstop, and it was the same weekend. I shit you not. I was like, wow. Like,
Send the deposit.
yeah, exactly. But
That's the
it was
deposit
like,
first.
well, yeah, I had already, that's the thing. I had already got booked,
Yeah.
deposit, everything. And then next thing you know, it was like literally, oh, I needed a wedding, or, in October, what day? And then it was like the same day. I'm already booked.
Yep.
And even if it was more money, I had already took the deposit. Not gonna change that.
I'm the same way. So as soon as the deposit's locked in, doesn't matter. Sorry.
It's already done. Exactly. I said, if anything changes, let me know. But yeah, I'm already locked in.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's ethics behind it. There's your integrity behind it, and everything else like that. It's and even shooting at the show, yeah, it's a free for all. It's sometimes, but the thing is, it is your integrity. It is how you deal with people. It is how you conduct yourself as a photographer, and what you put out there to the world. And
Yeah.
it's going to inspire people, and it's going to want people, to do business with you. So always remember that, because there is photographers that they never put their stuff out, and then they wonder why no one is giving them attention. So even with the most expensive camera in the world, and even if they think they're the best photographer in the world, if they're not putting their stuff where it could be seen, you're not gonna make the moves that you see other people making moves at.
Yeah. 100%. Got to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Whether it's only 2 or 3 people looking or 1,000 people looking, just put it out there. Don't matter. Even like with the Instagram numbers now, who gives a shit? Just put your shit out there.
Exactly. And the way they put now, it used to be you had to follow people to see most of this stuff. Now that you're getting random things on your page and everything else.
Bro, for real, all these big booty Latinas on my thing. I'm like, what the hell? That's not what I'm looking at.
Oh, well, what happened was, but it's true. You look at one picture, and the next thing you know, they're sending you all these different things.
Same thing with ads. You look at, something on Amazon, and now it's the same thing, sending you referrals for, the same product, but different naming and branding. I'm good. It's changed, man.
It's the algorithm. They're learning us, and we have to figure out how to run with how it works.
Do you have this app called Vero? Vero?
No.
Check them out. They're more photography based. It's actually cool. It's like a a little spin off of Instagram, but it's like photographer based or
Mhm.
more of artist based, where you can
Okay.
kind of still do cool photos, and it's cool. It's cool.
Oh,
Some
I'll have
dope
to look
stuff.
at it.
Yeah,
I don't
Vero
know if
V.
I'm ready for another app. Oh my god.
Nah, but it's cool. It's different from Instagram, where like you're actually looking for your targeted specifics. So they're not
Oh,
just feeding you shit.
oh, that's
So
cool.
if you say lowrider art, that's all you're getting. If you're
Oh, okay.
looking at art, that's all you're getting. Nothing in between.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely have to check that out then. But yeah, thank you again for being up on here.
Man. Sure. Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's been a while, but it's good catching up with you.
Yeah, definitely. My pleasure.
And like I said, so is there anything you want to plug? You want before we cut out?
Nah, no plugs, man. We're good. We're just chilling. I'm easy, man. Easy. As you can see, my branding's like kind of
It's just what you do, right?
yeah, if you're really smart about it, you kind of, little objects in the foreground here and there in the background. Yeah, that's it, man. We good.
All right. Well, like I said, it's good talking to you, Brian. Appreciate
Likewise.
your time.
Thank you.
And
Anytime.
then, yeah, stay in touch, man. Let me know anything you need. Anything,
Definitely. Likewise.
All right.
You got my number, same number, haven't changed.
Yeah, same here. All right, brother.
Pinches Lowriders.